Football. I was leader of the team for about a week. My specialty was the quarterback sneak. I was sacked and attacked, my bag was packed when I got the word in the form of a bird. You know, now better than diamond. Football. We once were a team that never could measure, but now we're something fresher than fresh. I think we're jamming, and that's a fact. Everybody say, Wildcats, 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 Wildcats.
Welcome to the Married with Picks podcast, Season 3, Episode 7, Week 7. So if you're watching, please remember to like, subscribe, and feel free to comment. So as you can see, I'm flying solo again this week. It's a great time to be a Philadelphia sports fan. Not such a great time to be a wife of a Philadelphia sports fan. So Steve is at the Phillies game tonight. So I am here again by myself. Steve is maxed out on his podcast misses for this year. I will say that. So the only positive is I get to do this a little bit earlier than usual. Usually we have to wait for the kids to go to bed first. But he did take the kids to the game with him. So I get to do this a little bit earlier on a Friday night. All right, so on to week 7. We do have 4 teams on bye this week: the Eagles, Rams, Vikings, and Bills. So first game on the list here. I moved some things around and all these cords are in my way. Okay. All right, so first game is the Atlanta Falcons at the Cincinnati Bengals. Falcons have kept their streak going here. They are now 6-0 against the spread this season. Atlanta will be without 2 of their cornerbacks in this game. Casey Hayward went on to the injured reserve, and D. Alford will be out this week. So I think that sets up nice for Joe Burrow to do what he wants to do. It's just throw it down the field to Chase and Higgins. I believe he was a full participant at practice today. So Burrow should have both those guys on the field this week. I don't exactly know how the Falcons are staying in these games as well as they are. They're obviously very run heavy. Marcus Mariota is not throwing the ball a whole lot. So I definitely think this is a good spot for the Bengals. The line opened at -10. It's at -6.5. I mean, I guess there's the potential that the Falcons could come back to ruin the cover. But I definitely think the Bengals win this game. So I'm willing to take them up to a touchdown. Next game up is the Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys. We'll have Dak Prescott coming back this week for his first time on the field since week 1. Lions are coming off a bye after that brutal loss they had where they got shut out by the Patriots. So I guess to me, this comes down to 2 things. Number one, how did the Lions spend their bye week? Did they work on the defense? Are they able to work on the defense? Are they able to improve this defense? And number 2 is how will Dak fare in his first game back since his injury? He did not look great in week 1. Obviously, Cooper Rush has played fairly well for them in the game since. But I think it's a little bit different of an offensive plan that they have prepared for Cooper Rush, so I'm not sure what it's going to look like now that we'll have Dak back out there. I'm a little bit worried about Goff up against the pass rush of the Cowboys, but Detroit has a fairly decent offensive line, so I think they can stand up a little bit. So I'm not totally worried about this being like a blowout in favor of the Cowboys. I think the Lions can do what they have done most of the season, at least stay in this game. The line is at -7. So I'm going to take the points and take the Lions here. Next game is the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. This is a division game. These teams played earlier in the year at the Colts, and Tennessee did take that game. Titans have actually won 4 of the last 5 of their matchups with the Colts. It sounds like the Colts will have Jonathan Taylor back, but linebacker Shaq Leonard will be out. We have Mike Grable, who Titans also coming off the bye. His record is 4-0 when coming off the bye. Matt Ryan actually played fairly decent last week against the Jags. I don't know how much credit we can give them for that. That's the one game that they've looked decent in this year. Maybe they're getting the offensive line figured out a little bit better. That might bode well for them. But Titans have a tendency, I think, to start off fast in these games and kind of slow down in the second half. I worry a little bit about that. Maybe the Colts can get back into it in the second half. Line is at -2.5 in favor of the Titans, up from -1. Titans don't necessarily blow teams out, but up to a field goal, I'm still willing to go there. I'm going to take the Titans here. Next game is the Green Bay Packers at the Washington Commanders. Opened at -3 in favor of the Packers, and it's up to -5. So we will be without Carson Wentz. It will be Taylor Heineke back in the starting quarterback role. I think he played fairly well for Washington last year. He's certainly shown that he's capable. I worry about the Washington offensive line, but hopefully Heineke will get the ball out faster, won't hold on to it the way that Wentz had a tendency to do. Packers obviously coming off two brutal losses to the Giants and the Jets. I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, but Aaron Rodgers just isn't the same without Devontae Adams on the field. I think, a little bit of dysfunction breeding there in the locker room. And I don't really see Aaron Rodgers as the type of guy, to bring the team together. So I'm worried about what's going on there. Washington has a fairly good run defense. I think if the Packers are going to win, they would probably have to do it through Jones and Dillon. So it doesn't feel good. And I'm not saying Green Bay doesn't pull out a victory here, but at -5, I got to take the points on this one and take Washington. Next game is Tampa Bay at the Carolina Panthers. Opened at -5 in favor of Tampa Bay. It's all the way up to -13. Jumped today, I think, from -10 to -13 after the news that the Panthers traded CMC to the San Francisco 49ers. So it sounds like PJ Walker will get the start again at quarterback. I wanted to look this up and I forgot. I don't remember what his exact stat line was last week, but I'm pretty sure it was below 100 yards. Rams got it done last week. They were 10-point favorites against the Panthers. I don't see why Tampa Bay can't get it done this week, even though it is a big line. I mean, Panthers really just don't have much at all going for them, especially now they traded away the one piece they had on offense. So it is a lot of points, but I am willing to take it. I don't even know if we'll see them score a touchdown. I think last week, the only touchdown they scored was actually a defensive touchdown. So as long as Tampa doesn't turn the ball over, I mean, I could totally see them not putting up any points. So I'm willing to take it at -13. You could also put it in a teaser. A lot of these lines are hovering around that 7 mark. So it's definitely a good week for a teaser, I think. So you could definitely put this in a teaser, get it down to about a 7, and probably feel a lot more comfortable there. All right. Next game is the New York Giants at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Opened at -1.5 in favor of the Jags. It's up to -3 in favor of the Jags. I was on the Giants for the last couple weeks. Didn't feel good about it either time, but I was on the right side of those games. This week, I actually like the Giants a lot, and that has me worried. I mean, on paper, obviously, I don't know how they're getting it done, but the Giants are getting it done. 6-1 on the season. Jags are kind of on the opposite side. They looked fairly decent in the first couple of weeks, and the last few weeks just haven't lived up to the hype. So on paper, I think everything points to the Giants. That's what worries me. but I'm going to stick with it and take the Giants here. Wouldn't surprise me to see this game go the other way. But I do like the Giants here. Next game is Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Opened at -5 in favor of the Ravens. It's up to -6.5. This is a division game. Browns have only won 1 out of the last 5 meetings between these teams. Last 3 meetings were fairly close games, decided by 6 or less points. So throughout the season, I mean, the Browns offense has performed a lot better than I expected them to with Brissett at quarterback. Their defense is absolutely terrible, especially against the run. We've seen that the last couple of weeks with Eckler and last week Stevenson with the Patriots running all over them. I don't know, obviously I would say the Ravens' top rusher is the quarterback, Lamar Jackson. So could be a big game for him. The Ravens are coming off a somewhat embarrassing loss to the Giants. So I definitely think this is a spot where the Ravens are going to be prepared. I think they win the game. I'm not sure if they cover, but I do lean that way. So again, this would probably be a team you could put in a teaser and just get it down to a win and feel fairly good about that. So next game is the New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. Right now, I think it's at -1 in favor of Denver. Some uncertainty as to who the quarterback will be for Denver. Russell Wilson is questionable with a hamstring. It sounds like he will be a game time decision. Their backup is Brett, I think is his first name, Ripien. So he's been around for a while. Jets are 4-2 on the season. This is definitely, as most of the games this year for the Broncos have been, is going to be a defensive battle. I mean, you could probably look at the under. Jets, obviously kind of a run first offense with Breece Hall. Denver, run defense is kind of middle of the pack, 18th overall, according to Football Outsiders. So I would almost prefer Russell. I think when we thought that Russell Wilson was going to play, this line was a little more around the 3 mark. So if you could get a few points, I would definitely feel better about that. But I think either way, I got to side on the Jets here. I don't necessarily want to take the Jets as a favorite. If I can get a couple points there, I'd feel better about that. So, but I don't know how you can take the Broncos at this point after what we've seen. They also have Javonte Williams, their running back, is out. Some kind of drama with Melvin Gordon last week. So we don't even really know what's going on there, whether it's going to be him running the ball or Latavius Murray. And just sounds like a little bit of dysfunction as well going on in the locker room there. So definitely lean Jets there. Next game is the Houston Texans at the Las Vegas Raiders. Open at -8 in favor of the Raiders. It's now at -7. Both these teams are coming off of the bye week. Texans are second only to the Browns in how bad their run defense is. We saw Josh Jacobs get going in the Chiefs game last week. I don't know if that was a little bit more strategy, run the ball, keep Mahomes off the field type thing. But if they take that same approach here, I don't think it's a bad one because you can definitely run on the Texans. Raiders are 1-4 on the season, so they definitely need this win to stay relevant. And I think they are the better team. So they have a fairly decent pass rush too with Max Crosby. So if he can kind of get Davis Mills kind of off his spot a little bit, that wouldn't be a bad thing. So I definitely think the Raiders win at -7. I lean Raiders there. So yeah, Raiders on that one. And then next game is the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Chargers. Seattle really has a bit of a hype train going here with Geno Smith. I mean, I know he's played well in a few of these past games against some bad defenses. I gone against them last week with the Cardinals, thinking that was going to be a get right spot for Kyler Murray. I think it was a week early on that one. But I can't believe Geno Smith has been around this league for a long time. I don't know how long he can keep playing at this level. Seattle's defense, I still don't think is that good. Maybe they played a little bit better last week. But Arizona offense wasn't exactly great. So I don't know, which side that blame rests on. I think the Chargers are definitely the better team. I was actually trying to enter a FanDuel lineup earlier and realized Keenan Allen is expected to be a game time decision. Even if he does play, I don't know if we can trust that he'll be out there for the full game. I did notice that Palmer, the third wide receiver there, is out with a concussion. And then Donald Parham, a tight end who had just come back either last game or I guess it was last game. We saw him get involved a little bit there. Is out again with another concussion. He's the one that had that hit last year where he left on a stretcher. So not good for him. So Herbert is going to be missing some of his weapons. You can run on Seattle as well. So that makes Eckler relevant here. And I know the Chargers don't necessarily blow teams out, but I do think that they are the better team and they'll find a way to get it done. So I do like the Chargers. It's at -5 right now. I think they win, and I'm willing to take the 5. So I'm on the Chargers there. Next game is the Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams coming off a loss last week. Will the Chiefs lose 2 in a row? I don't know. San Francisco obviously had that tough loss in Atlanta last week that really killed me. That was my favorite bet of the week, and it was in all of my parlays that I put in. So that one cost me. Were they looking ahead to this week a little bit? Maybe. They did have a lot of injuries. So it's one thing I would definitely look at in this game. Bosa, Trent Williams, and a couple of the Jimmy Ward and Travarius Ward right now are questionable. So keep an eye on that and see how much of their defense is going to be on the field this week. Because if they're going to win this game, it's definitely going to be attributable to the defense. They did sign Christian McCaffrey. He is expected to play in this game. How much? I don't know. So I could see this being a game that San Francisco stays in right up until the end, and then either a fumble or an interception or Kyle Shanahan kind of just playing a little scared like he has a tendency to do in some of these games, kind of giving up the lead in the fourth quarter. One thing I worry about, it seems like the money is on the Chiefs in this one. About last time I looked, it was about 80% of the money is on the Chiefs. So anytime I see that, I get a little nervous. I want to go San Fran here. I really do. But I think they will stay in it. But I could see it opening up in the fourth quarter in the Chiefs' favor. So I think I lean Chiefs. I want to see where the money ends up on Sunday. If it is still heavily in favor of the Chiefs, I might have to pull the trigger on San Fran there. Next game is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, last week, the Steelers pulled out the victory over the Tampa Bay Bucks, which was another team that I was on. So Tomlin had the defense up last week after getting embarrassed the week before against the Bills. I don't think they can keep that up. Kenny Pickett left that game with a concussion. He has already been cleared and named the starter this week. The Steelers will go on the road down to Miami in the heat down there. The Dolphins will have Tua back. And obviously he'll have Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle, I believe, was limited at practice, but it sounds like he will play. This is at -7 right now. And I definitely think the Dolphins can get it done and win by more than 7. I don't know how much above the 7 I'd want to go. But I just don't see how the Steelers can keep it up. So I definitely like the Dolphins a lot here. And then the last game is the Monday night game. This is the Chicago Bears at the New England Patriots. I have it here at -8.5. I actually saw it earlier. It looked like it had gone down to -7.5. So we saw the Patriots the last couple of weeks absolutely dominate the Lions and the Browns last week. Now they get the Bears. We talked in the past about Belichick versus rookie quarterbacks. I know Justin Fields is not a rookie, but he has never faced Bill Belichick. So first time against Belichick, it might be a rough outing for him. They haven't exactly been lighting it on fire on offense. I kind of wish this wasn't a primetime game because I get a little nervous with these primetime games if the money is on one side. I feel like they always go the other way. So, this is probably my favorite game of the week. I would take the Patriots all day. I just worry about if... Right now, it looks like about 70% of the money, or at least last time I checked, was on the Patriots. And if the line has come down, that would actually mean that there's money coming in on the Bears. So that works in my favor. And if I can get it closer to a touchdown, I'll take that too. So my only concern with this game is the fact that it's a primetime game. And if all the money is on the Patriots, then I could see the Bears covering. But otherwise, I love Belichick versus Justin Fields here. So that is going to do it for me. At least those of you who say the podcast should be a little bit shorter might like it when it's just me by myself because we're at about 20 minutes. I will be back next week with my sidekick, Steve. Like I said earlier, he's maxed out on his podcast misses for the season. If you're watching, please remember to hit the like button, subscribe button, and feel free to leave us a comment. So that'll do it for week 7. We'll see you next week, week 8. Peace out.